I think the cannabis would probably be the biggest question that they would have.
Is that an underreported thing, you think? I had some folks with the DeWitt County Mental Health Board on last week, and towards the end of the conversation, that's kind of where things took us a little bit, was the cannabis legalization and its impacts, particularly on youth. Do you feel like that's an under talked about issue at this point in time?
Yeah, I do. I think it's always been there. I think that cannabis, people grow it all the time and stuff. So I think that use has always been there. But I think we are getting a little bit more discussion on it since that legalization
Well,
of it.
yeah, and I mean, just the legalization piece. I mean, it makes it so much more accessible. That to me, that's
Hmm.
just the difference. Like, it's not a matter like, and forgive me if I'm kind of stepping out of my lane a little bit, but like I understand it's always been there, but the access to it is now so it's so tenfold. There's so much more availability of it and in ease to get it than there was before. I guess, how about that and its impact on the youth?
No, and I would agree with that. But I also think the fact that um, it's looked upon that it's more okay, or with it being legalized, it's less risky. But I still think there's some definite concerns with the use of it,
Right.
especially in our youth, because the brain is still developing
Hmm.
in those young ages, and that impact that it has on it as that brain is developing.
Yeah, totally agree on that for sure. Maybe that's a topic for another day.
Sure.
On some of the trends you're seeing as it relates to the legalization of marijuana and all those sorts of things. I know Chief Ben Lowers here in Clinton has talked with me about that just a time or two over the
Hmm.
last 3.5 years that it's been legal, but never hurts to revisit. But back to that panel at the high school tonight, Sheriff. Just one more time, highlight kind of the when and where on that if folks are interested.
So that's going to be tonight at 6:30, and it's going to be at the Monticello Middle School cafeteria there in
All right.
Monticello.
Put that on the calendar. Should be good discussion. Sheriff Mark Vogelzang, Piatt County Sheriff, is my guest on the phone here for this morning. And, Sheriff, as we enter the springtime, I wasn't necessarily reminded because of an occurrence I had, but just went to my car Sunday morning and was kind of doing the whole unlock it thing. And I wasn't hearing that typical loud click that comes when you unlock your car because it's locked, and noticed, oh, shoot, I left my car unlocked all night. Thank goodness my wallet was inside and I don't have, any valuables in there. But, as the springtime comes around, those opportunistic car burglaries are going to start to increase. Let's talk about springtime and crime and driving and all those things, Sheriff.
Oh, absolutely. The cars and the car burglaries that we experience, we have not really seen a big trend in them increasing, but they're always there. Um, Always keeping your car locked. There's always most of our burglaries are the unlocked vehicles where people are going into them to get loose change and miscellaneous items that are left there. Not so much locked cars with broken windows.
Right, and that's what we hear the most is,
Hmm.
these burglars are not, they're not breaking windows. They're not, jarring their way through a car door to get to your vehicle. If it's unlocked, they're going to take advantage of that opportunity. So with that, Sheriff, I guess just remind us about, what we need to do to make sure that we protect those valuables and that cash in our vehicles and those sorts of things.
Everything in at night. Don't leave anything of value in your car. If you're going to be out shopping, maybe hide them or use your trunk to secure them a little bit better. Definitely don't leave your keys in the car. Obviously, then you run the risk of a stolen car. We do have a lot of people that do the concealed carry.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't leave firearms in your car as well.
Mm-hmm.
Those do get stolen from time to time, and that does create additional issues.
Yeah, no question. Now, I know you cover, of course, the sheriff's department, Sheriff. You all cover a lot of rural area. What are crimes of
Hmm.
opportunity you see, maybe out in the country for those, those country cruisers, as we used to call them in high school? What do you see from them as it relates to opportunistic crime, maybe in rural parts of the county?
Again, it kind of goes back to things that are left out, maybe packages that are being delivered by Amazon, FedEx, UPS, things like that tend to get stolen. four-wheelers, keeping your sheds locked, keeping your house locked when you're gone. A lot of times we'll see people that try a ruse. They'll go up and knock on the door to see if anybody's home, and if not, they try the doors to find a way in to commit a burglary.
Yeah, no question. So keep those things in mind. And any other like crime trends going on right now, Sheriff? Anything the springtime brings about? Anything else we haven't touched on this morning you want to put out there for us?
Not so much. We're just very thankful. I think most people have seen recently, early last month, we had a car that was stolen from Mansfield. Made a lot of the news through the Midwest. The big concern was the golden doodle that had been left in the car as well. And there was a good ending to that story. The golden doodle test was found almost a week later down in Greenville, Alabama. So that was a good ending to a stolen car that we had recently.
Yeah. So maybe I know we like to take our pets. Shoot, I'm among those likes to take your pets out for a car ride. But perhaps if you're going to have to leave the pet in the car for an extended period of time, maybe consider leaving it at home. I guess it sounds like.
Yeah, it's hard, especially with the nicer weather. We want to take the dogs out, but if you do, again, obviously with the weather, we want to make sure that animals are taken care of, that they're not in hot cars as the summer comes up. And that was not the case in this one, but
right.
As the summer comes along, we want to take care of our pets and make sure that they're not left in hot cars. So it is hard to secure them for any length of time.
Sheriff, real quick, I know that you recently hired a new deputy, Deputy Trevor Norris. Tell us about Trevor a little bit.
We did. We're very fortunate. This is the second hire that I've had since I've been here, and it is the second lateral hire. He is an experienced officer from Paxton Police Department. He had been there for a couple years. He does have family here at our department. So it is nice to get somebody back into our community that grew up here. So some people may recognize him as he is out and about.
Very good. Well, Sheriff, I'll tell you what, let's take a time out here, my friend, come back with some more. Sheriff, where do folks go to keep up with all things Piatt County Sheriff's Office? Do you have a website? Are you on social media? How about some of those things?
I would direct anyone that is interested to our Facebook page. Probably the best place for updates.
That's very good. Sheriff Mark Vogelzang, Piatt County Sheriff, our guest on the phone. More to come with him on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW. Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn slightly lower, beans double-digit higher, wheat trading lower. March corn 644 down 1 1/4, May corn down 2 3/4, 637. July corn 625 1/2 down 2 1/2. March beans 1548 3/4 up 18 1/4. May beans up 16 3/4. 1535 1/2. July beans 1522 1/4 up 16 1/4. March Chicago wheat 685 1/4 down 10 1/2. May wheat down 12, 696 3/4. July wheat down 11 3/4, 705. May bean meal 493 even up 11.70. May bean oil down 28 cents, 60.91. Livestock market, March feeders up $1.02, 191.02. April live cattle up 17 cents, 165.60. April lean hogs 84.12, down 42 cents.
New trucks and SUVs are here. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton. Yes, we've been waiting, and now we have new inventory on our lot for you to see, with more arriving weekly. Plan your next new Chevrolet purchase. Just click on the pre-order tab. You'll see Silverados in 1500, 2500, and 3500. We have Equinoxes and Trailblazers as well. New Chevrolet inventory in stock now at Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
MR Systems Wireless is your local internet provider for Clinton and surrounding area. They have the products you want and the local service you deserve. MR Systems Wireless Internet service for home or business includes unlimited data, unlimited streaming, and unlimited calling. Plans start at just $48 a month and get a free Roku 4Ls with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. My guest on the phone today is Piatt County Sheriff Mark Vogelzang. And Sheriff, we were talking in the break there. I got a little bit of a tip maybe from a friend of yours that tells me that Officer Norris, you might be poaching guys from other agencies here, Sheriff. How about that accusation, sir?
Well, that friend term should be used loosely.
Sure.
No. We work very closely with them as well.
Yeah.
And so
for folks that don't know, Sheriff Walker shot me a text and listening in here with our guest, Sheriff Mark Vogelzang in Piatt County this morning. But no, we were talking there, Sheriff, in the break about the challenges of staffing up a law enforcement agency, and you were telling me, fortunately for you folks, it's not maybe not been as treacherous as perhaps other agencies are faring here lately. How about just your experience trying to keep your department staffed?
No, we've been very lucky, and I think a lot of it can be contributed to our community. Very law enforcement supportive, so that is huge. And I think a lot of people, as they're looking for departments, they want that support from their communities. So we're lucky in that aspect.
Sure, Sheriff, tell me a little bit about some radio upgrades you've got going on in your department. What are you doing here?
Well, that's one of those, we've got kind of three big projects that we're working on currently, and the radio upgrades is something that we've been working on, and I kind of mentioned on the show before. Unfortunately, as you're working with the federal government, sometimes things take a little while, but the money was granted to us, the $600,000+. It's just a matter of completing that process to get the funds released. So we're still working on that. We're still working on upgrading our video surveillance system in our jail. We want to get new cameras throughout the jail as well. And then the third one that we're working on with our circuit clerk's office is DigiTicket, which will be, as we write tickets and or warnings, it will print them out. So it'll save us some time on the road, get our public away from a traffic stop a little bit faster, so it's going to be a little bit safer.
Yeah.
And it makes things a lot more legible as well.
Sheriff, don't feel obligated to hand me the tickets, right then and there. I can wait a week or two. In fact, if you guys just forgot about it, hey, that's totally, or a warning, totally fine with me. Don't feel obligated like you've got to give me that ticket sight on scene. All right, take your time with that.
Well, I can't imagine Seth violating any traffic laws.
Hey, you know what? Back in the day, I got pulled over a couple times in Piatt County on my journeys to Monticello. So, but no, your guys always treated me with respect. It was, never a bad experience with the guys in Piatt County, and really law enforcement just in general. I have really had good experiences in Central Illinois dealing with all of those folks. But Sheriff, anything else on those upgrades you want to highlight? I guess where does the funding come from?
Well, a lot of it in different avenues. The radio upgrades, it's coming through a grant that Rodney Davis helped us obtain through the federal government. So $600,000 is a lot of money to us, but a drop in the bucket to the federal government. So that will help our county out significantly.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones are some ARPA indirect funds used to make those other projects happen.
For sure. Tell me about, Sheriff, some training, force on force training that you did recently. And I don't know, I might have heard about this from another fellow law enforcement officer, but tell me about this training. What's this all about?
So obviously training is extremely important to our careers, trying to do things better, safer, using technology, things like that. So one of the things that our department just did recently with our staff was doing this force on force training, and we utilized munitions, which are, I guess the easiest way to describe it would be kind of like a paintball round, but it is actually fired out of our Glock munitions or our Glock firearms that we use. So there's a little bit of, it is a little painful, but it induces some realism and some stress into our training. So a lot of it was going to be just scenario driven, and we work on things such as de-escalation, trying to get our staff to go into a situation remain calm, think through things, and utilize their ability to talk to hopefully bring the situation down and gain compliance. But then it's also allows us to do things such as control tactics. As the officers in a certain scenario, what less lethal options, should it arise to that, can they use? And then ultimately, if there was a deadly force situation, the simunitions come into play.
Now, did you do this in Macon County?
We did this here in Piatt County. We were very fortunate. We had a vacant school that we were able to use. So a lot of it started with active shooter response to a school is the thing that most people think about, but it could also happen at any business, any factory, things such as that. And it might be in a residence where, hey, now we have an active shooter inside this house that we have to go in and stop.
Yeah.
So a lot of it.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just trying to work with our staff to, again, keep them calm, think logically, think through things, and try to figure out how to best solve a problem with as little force as possible, as safe as possible for everybody involved.
Yeah, no question. Sheriff, anything else on that training we didn't touch on today you want to put out there for us?
Nope. Things went very well. We had some good role players, so I always want to throw out a thank you to our role players as well.
Very good. Sheriff, I don't know if you and I will catch up before this, but April 9th through the 15th is National Communicators Week. What's this all about real fast for us?
Yes, second week of April every year is the National Communicators Week. It was signed into law in 1994 by President Clinton, but anytime there's an emergency, the first people that get that call are dispatchers. So they are absolutely critical to get all that important information and get people dispatched out as fast as possible to help when needed.
Very good. Well, Sheriff, it's always good to talk with you. We appreciate you making time for us. Again, best way for folks to follow along with all things happening in your department.
Our Facebook page is the best place.
Sheriff Mark Vogelzang, Piatt County Sheriff, my guest on the phone for this morning. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. Network news on the way on the morning show.